Hey guys, I am MG, and today I'll be looking at Pacific Rim, which is a 2013 American science fiction monster film that is about Raleigh and Mako teaming up to take down the monster called Kaiju. It was also directed by Guillermo Del Toro, who wrote the script alongside Travis Beacham. However, why don't we stop fighting with sticks and start reviewing right now? I was a bit excited into watching this film, since its plot sounds like a lot of fun, and I was ready to be delighted by it. So I watched the film, and it's okay. I don't know, I was actually a little disappointed, because there wasn't a lot of things that stood out to me, and it does have some big problems. I think the characters kind of drag this movie down a bit. Well, except for Marshall Stacker. I was actually really endeared with his character, not only thanks to Idris Elba's charismatic performance, but I also really admire the character's dedication to do the right thing, despite the consequences. And I was invested in his relationship with Mako. The twist with where he took care of her was actually solid, and they have a very nice dynamic, especially with their final scenes. I do wish it got more focus though, but I will talk about that later, since it's not only shown with these two. Anyways, the other characters aren't so lucky. I found Raleigh and Mako themselves to be really uninteresting. They both have personal conflicts, but they don't really leave any impression on me, and I couldn't get invested in their struggles because of how it barely matters in the plot. And they somehow managed to have no chemistry together, while also having their romance to be very predictable. I don't care about it at all, since it amounted to nothing in the end. I will say that Rinko Kikuchi was pretty decent in this role, but that did not make up for her character's thin writing, and Raleigh is even worse, due to Charlie Hunman being very dull in my opinion. The father and son are also very bland. They have a sweet final scene, and it was nice how the son grew to like Raleigh, but that character arc has no development, and the movie doesn't pay attention to their relationship, so that stinks. And don't even get me started on Dr. Newton and Herman. They aren't the worst comic relief out there, I guess, but is that really a compliment? These guys got on my nerves a little bit, especially Newton, who I found rather pathetic. And the plot where he finds Hannibal Chow has barely any purpose, and it feels like an annoying waste of time, since A, it doesn't amount to much, and B, it means I have to watch this annoying scientist be unfunny. Wow, what a great subplot this is. The story is incredibly formulaic, and it doesn't really do anything new or unique in the science genre. It's just an alien invasion, and big robots fight it. It goes along very unoriginally. The pacing was a bit slow at times, and it feels very stretched out for this film to be over 2 hours. 1 hour and 45 minutes would have been enough. And now we get to the thing that I would talk about later. Its focus on certain aspects. This film tries to juggle all of its character conflicts, and it doesn't feel like there's enough time for any of them because of how much there is. It just has too much exposition to focus on these characters. Or if you can't get rid of the exposition, then remove the scientist subplot. And it sucks because I liked the stuff with Marshall, and it would have been delightful to have more emotional scenes with him and Mako. So even though this movie has its problems, I will say that it is a very well directed film, with nothing amazing per se, but is still good. The cinematography was quite expressive, and I enjoyed all of its aerial shots. The action was pretty solid, with the human fight scenes being well choreographed, and the big fight scenes have enough tension in it to be entertaining, especially the scene where the building almost gets blown up, which was probably my favorite scene in the whole film. The other set pieces felt somewhat lacking in energy, since the mechs move quite slowly, but they were alright for what they were. Sometimes the editing was a bit off, just a tad with some fast cuts, but it was still really strong. The music is also quite memorable, and it creates a sense of hope and sadness that doesn't feel out of place in a sci-fi genre. The visual effects aren't all that impressive, since it doesn't display much interesting imagery outside of a monster world in the climax, which was quite beautiful. Even so, these effects look really solid, and the mechs are quite expressive as well. So overall, this film is really well made. It has some tense moments, and Marshall was pretty investing as a character, but the other characters are bland, the story is generic, the action is not all that incredible, and as I said, I was a little disappointed. But I wouldn't say it's bad or anything. It has some great aspects, but I would not really recommend it. If you want to watch it, then go ahead, because it's not the absolute worst. 6.3 out of 10. Goodbye everyone, and thank you for watching. Bye!